Welcome back, everybody, to Who the Wild Things Are. This is episode 6. I cannot believe we're on episode 6. This is the podcast that brings you guys people that turned their passions into priorities. And it's already episode 6. I feel like yesterday I was just getting on with Donnie Dust for episode 1. So it's moved really quickly, and it's been so awesome. All the positive feedback from you guys, people saying that they're getting outside more often after hearing these amazing stories from these folks. So that's like the coolest, best compliment I could have. It almost makes me want to cry, but I'm not going to because I'm a man. All right, anyway, we just got back from the mountains, back in the city for a little bit. We're going back. So after this, I'll be gone for about a month. I'll have a phone for maybe a couple of the days, but pretty much no phone. So that means know who the wild things are. That means probably not a lot of interaction, but if I don't answer you, just know I love you guys, and I would definitely reach back out to you when I get back. So with all that said, let's get Chad on here, and let's get this thing popping. Chad, I think, is in a cave or in the woods or something. Let's figure it out. There he is, the man.
Hey!
Dude, you look like a
How's it going, man? Hey, hold on a second. Give it a second. I think we got a bad connection.
Okay, we'll give it a second. We'll see how it's going.
Sometimes it takes a minute to get for the connection to get established. I'm going to grab the phone.
Okay.
I'm going to walk around a little bit. It's just, this is a really awesome spot, and I got it all set up. So let me see if I go over the hill.
No worries.
If there's a better connection over there.
Well, thanks for bearing with me, man.
Yeah, man. My pleasure. I've been looking forward to this.
Well, yeah. So, like you know, Chad, this is a show about people that turned their passion into priority, and that's, I think, why you and I connected, is because you're a guy that you did a lot of different things in life, and then you decided that freedom was kind of the most important, and you made a big switch and a big change, and now a couple million followers later, you're hanging out in the bush making acorn bread. So if you can, tell us, how did the change start? Where were you at that you got fed up with life and decided this is what you were going to do? You know,
how did I get into this?
Yeah, where was the transition from I'm done messing around with this regular life, I'm going to go do something atypical in the bush and kind of live more freely?
The big change really started happening around the time of the recession in like 2008. Having a family, financial obligations, everything just kind of fell apart. Just financially, my earnings dropped a lot, and I had to make some really tough decisions and life adjustments. So I ended up living alone for a while in my vehicle. Sleeping in my vehicle. I was always working, but my income just dropped a lot. And I typically always had 2 jobs pretty much all my adult life. And then I just remember I was looking for as many ways as possible as I could imagine to cut my expenses. So I wasn't paying rent. I had a lot of debt I had to pay. And so not paying rent, sleeping in my car, that helped me to balance my finances a bit. And then I was looking at food. And I was, I had acquired, at that time, I acquired a few books about edible wild plants. And I started going in the hills, collecting plants, learning about plants, collecting plants to eat. And I just started right at that time. I made this connection about how it never really hit me before, but I started to realize how nature provides everything we really need to live.
That's right.
You know, because all your life you're like, okay, you got to get a job, you got to have your money, you got to go to the store to buy your stuff, you have all these bills, you know, you're taught that you have to have. That's what you need to live, according to our modern culture. But I started seeing that, gosh, you know, this food out here, I bet it's way more nutritious than what you get in the supermarket, you know.
Yeah.
There's very little information, you know, about medicinal properties or nutritional value, because it's just not studied, because it's not sold, you know. And I started realizing how, you know, a lot of the stuff that's like these popular foods, with, you know, that they, you know, there's always a new food that comes out that's superfood, or, you know, it's so good for you, it's super high in such and such vitamin or mineral, and they promote those, and I realized that the only reason they're promoting it is, yeah, it's probably good, but they're making money off of it. That's why they're promoting it. And so all these forgotten plants that are around me right now, as a matter of fact, they're not studied, they're not promoted, because there's no money in it, you know? And so you don't hear about them. And so I just started putting my faith and trust more into nature and eating plants, and then eventually bugs and other things. And, and you know, even though there's not even a lot of information on it. So that was a big part of the transition. Now, this whole thing went on for years, okay? I lived out of my car for a few years, and, you know, sometimes my parents, you know, sleeping on the floor, or, but mind you, I was always working. I wasn't some lazy ass bum or something, you know. I was working, you know. I had, like I said, I had debt to pay and family and stuff. So I was doing all this, and I always, as a young child or teenager growing up, I always kind of had this idea or desire to be like a National Geographic photographer or videographer. I always loved movies, and I wanted to make movies, and I love being in nature, and oh my God, this is so beautiful out here, by the way. And so I always had this dream in me, and I got into doing stock photography right around the time of the recession, selling it online. It's just generic photography that you put online. When people buy it, then you get a commission. And so I did that with photography, and you can do that video and audio even. And so I started doing that, and I saw potential in getting residuals. I'm making very little money at it, but I saw a potential. I could do something I like doing, and I found that when I would travel, I could take pictures and video and sell it. And eventually I started like making a little bit of money on that, to where I was actually able to pay my travel expenses. And so that just like, oh my God, maybe, you know, I could get out there, I could do this, you know? And so there was one problem I had, though, because I still had very little money. And so when I wanted to go somewhere, sometimes I took some like trips that were just kind of crazy. You know, they weren't really planned. They're kind of spontaneous, and I just kind of get an idea, and I'm like, I'm going to go, and people thought I was crazy, and I could like minimal budget, you know. So it was like, get there, you know, and then the rest is like, you know, no hotel, like no food, hardly any money for food or anything. It was super limited budget. And so, and also I had limited space, you know, so I just had a backpack which had my camera gear. And so I didn't have stuff for like a tent and camping gear or anything like that. I had room for that. So I had to like really rough it and endure the elements, and, you know, like use trash bags for a little shelter. One time I spent a night in a trash bag to protect myself from the rain. So things like that. And so I was like I started like thinking a lot, like, if the only thing that's keeping me from really thriving is my inability to really, you know, deal with these discomforts, you know, whether it be cold or heat, hunger, dehydration, you know, all these things, those are things that limit our abilities. And so I just I don't know. I just kind of like started testing myself in that. Like right now I'm cold. The sun is about to go down and I'm shivering a little bit, but I know I'm not going to die. It's uncomfortable. And so I started embracing discomforts. And so I did crazy things like that, like I've spent nights like this rock, I could spend a night out here. I've spent many nights I did not sleep. I just shivered at night, and so it was like, but I was able to be at an incredible place, incredible view, which I'm going to show you right now. There is the sun going down. Woo! Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Look at those mountains. Oh my God.
Nice.
It's so beautiful. And, unbelievable. And so
awesome. I
love the sights, but you can't drive to this location. You have to hike. Now there's a certain amount of discomforts you got to deal with in order to get to some places and appreciate this kind of beauty. So I started just, really practicing that and started learning about survival. And I was fascinated that even though I suffered a lot, in many ways, it showed me where my limits were. I think it's very important to know your limits because everyone's different. It's very different what you can take versus what I can take. Everybody's very different. So it's important to know, how much water do you need, when the weather is 80 degrees and 20% humidity, little things like that. And so, I was doing these trips and taking pictures and selling it and started making money at that in a little bit. And then, I moved up a little bit. I lived in an office for a while. And mind you, there was no kitchen. There was no bathroom in the office. It was on the floor. And so I had to just be very flexible, And I started doing YouTube at that time also. And I also was looking at my age, I was in my mid-40s. And, I still had this dream of I want to be in nature as much as possible and really live simple. I lost the desire for really material things. And I just wanted to be healthy and see this amazing experience God's amazing creation and depend more on the land for my sustenance, my food, and making things. I absolutely love making things out of natural materials. It's beautiful. So I started doing YouTube channel more, and I started with doing adventure videos, and it was growing slowly. But I really got to a point where I didn't think I had much of a future in this society, and I started getting more into like doing the primitive type of videos where you're not using anything no modern tools or equipment. And I knew that was popular on YouTube, and I was fascinated by it. And I've always had a great interest in Native American culture. And when you're talking about survivors, I always felt that the best survivalists are the natives. They knew it all. And someone might call me an expert. I don't even close to call myself an expert because a 15-year-old native boy knows way more than me, And so I've only been doing this a lot, for a few years. So yeah, I started doing these YouTube videos and making things out of Adobe and just learning about my environment. It's just so fascinating. You can just take a small piece of land like this and you start digging in the dirt. You start, breaking branches and testing the fruit, the seeds, and there's just so much you can do. It can provide you with so much, and that just fascinated me more and more. And then my dream was to just get some land in the future, build a little hut or something, and just be totally off the grid, self-sustaining. Yeah. And so that ended up, my YouTube channel 2 years ago just took off. one of the videos went crazy viral, and that really was the big turning point, because what that did, because prior to that, I had jobs, I was working all the time. My health was actually going down. I was having injuries, physical injuries. At the day that the YouTube video went viral, I think it was that same day that I tore my bicep tendon. I was doing several jobs. I did ride sharing, I did a little bit of modeling, and I was doing furniture moving. And busy schedule, not exercising enough. Anyways, I tore my bicep. I had in my left arm, and my right elbow had a lot of pain. My back had tons of pain. My hip, my knees, everything was hurting. And I'm like, man, I'm not going to be able to go much longer, you know? And then boom, that YouTube channel went crazy. And I was able to make money at that to be able to support my family. And then it gave me this amazing liberty that I just feel so blessed that I can just go out here and really pursue what I wanted to do for so long.
Yeah.
And I love it. I love it. I absolutely love it. And there's just so much. I won't live long enough, not even close. 1,000 years won't be enough to be able to experience and learn all that I desire to learn. There's just so much, you know?
Yeah, it's an infinite knowledge base for even, like you said, 100-yard by 100-yard square to learn everything contained just in that one small ecosystem would take multiple lifetimes. Absolutely. There's so much contained there, but the draw for me is you're never going to run out of stuff to do.
No,
there's always going to be something there. It's going to be like, okay, I figured out acorn bread is the bomb and it has every nutrient ever. What's next? What do I mix with it? Can I mix this with it? How do I cook it? Can I make it into a stew? Can I use it for bread? You know, there's just always new stuff.
Yeah, you mentioned acorn. I found about 5 pounds of acorns. I picked on my way up here. I got a bunch of manzanita berries. It's all down there where I was.
Sorry.
And you see, we're going to have a problem here. I got to bring the torches because the sun is down. And so it's going to get dark.
Dude, we can wait for you. We can wait for you. We can make this work however it needs to work, Chad. This is your world. We're just here.
I appreciate it. I'm so sorry it didn't work down there. It was like perfect. I had it all set up. I should probably do that right now. I'm back. I'm back, man.
Awesome. You got all your stuff with you.
Yeah, I got most of it.
Dude, I got so many good questions from the chat for you. Whenever you're ready and settled down, I'm going to fire you with the best questions you've ever heard.
All right, hold on. All right. Hold on a second here.
Get warmed up and settled in and we'll get to it.
There's my 5 pounds of acorns.
Nice.
Good, so they're starting to rot. It's late in the season.
Right, you got to pick them up.
Got to pick them up. They're starting to rot. Some of these are bad, but most of them are good.
Yeah, it was funny. I was teaching a class in Ohio, and we were doing acorn flour, and I had my sister bite into. She's actually in the chat right now. She bit into her first acorn ever, and came out with a worm. And I was like,
"The worm is good. It's a bonus."
I was like, "That's protein, man."
Yes,
that's protein.
Yes. Yeah, man, that's a bonus. Okay, let's see here.
So, Chad, real quick, something you mentioned earlier, you were saying that video that blew up. What was it? I want to check it out and I want to make sure.
Oh, you haven't seen it? Yeah, it's got like 87 million views.
What's it called?
It was done 2 years ago, 2 years ago. First primitive year at the hut.
Oh, I have seen that one. Yeah.
You have? Okay.
Yeah, that one's epic.
Yeah. And
I figured at that point you were already a star.
No, that's the one that made me.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, that's an epic video. That one is awesome. And
Yeah, but when I look back, because I've learned so much since then. I feel kind of stupid when I see that video. But I think a lot of people do that. They see their older videos or whatever, and like they don't like the way they look, or they know they're not nearly as good as they are now. So
yeah.
Alrighty. So yeah, go ahead, shoot out.
Okay, another one, and it could be multiple. There could be multiple answers, but another one I was thinking as well is when you said you were starting to eat bugs. What's your favorite bug?
Oh yeah, I saw that question.
If you had 5 pounds of one bug in that bag, and it wasn't acorns, it was bugs. What bug do you want it to be?
I was first introduced to bugs, insects, from some friends from Mexico, Oaxaca, that I worked with many years ago, and they brought me a bag of chapulines, grasshoppers, and they're roasted, and it's so weird because I remember trying the first one, like looking at it, like, it's like really hard to do. I did. I'm like, not bad, but I felt like accomplished. I ate a bug, and I remember taking them to my coworkers and seeing who will eat one and who won't. And then I started eating those grasshoppers all the time. And then it was several years later. God, this is beautiful. It was several years later that
nice.
I was out just hiking or something, and I came across a grasshopper or something. I captured it, and I just ate it. I just put it in my mouth, ate it alive. It's no big deal, And I did a little bit of research on insects and stuff, and discovered. The natives. It was a very common food source. It's very, very common to eat grasshoppers, ants, crickets, grubs. So I started, regularly eating grasshoppers and sometimes crickets, and then the acorn worms.
Yeah.
Like I might have a basket of them, and then you'll see a worm crawling out, like on the table or something, and there might be other people there, and I'll grab the worm and I'll eat it. Like, it really doesn't have any taste. It's more the texture, because it kind of pops when you bite into it. It goes,
right.
But insects are a very nutritious food source, and
absolutely.
I've actually never cooked any. I always eat them raw, live, like ants. Well, ants I did. I roasted some before. Ants, you gotta be careful though. It's best to kill them, because I had one bite my tongue before, and that hurt.
You can also do ants like in boiling water a lot of times, because you can get to.
Oh yeah.
It's like ants can be tough to pick one out at a time, right? Because they're not big like the grasshopper. So you can kind of put them in a can with water. And
yeah, they are a little tricky to harvest. I found that putting some bait right at the hole, like in the desert, you'll see these mounds.
Yeah.
These holes, and you put some food around there, and they come out. They swarm, and then you can when they're all agitated, you just like put a stick on the ground, especially if it's got covered with a little bit of food on it, sweet like honey or something, and they'll cover that stick, and then you take them and then scrape them off into a container. I was putting them on a rock and then smashing them.
Yeah.
And then I roasted them in the sun. But yeah, it's a lot of work for a small amount of food. That's why, larger animals are more sought after.
That's right. But it's always good to change it up time and time again. So as you eat these new foods, whether, acorns are incredibly nutritious, berries, and you had all these health issues, did you see from point A where you're driving an Uber, you're sedentary, you're eating McDonald's or whatever you were eating, versus now you're traveling all these miles and eating wild food. How did your health change from the Uber driver to Chad Zuber, YouTube outdoorsman?
Well, I never ate McDonald's or anything like that. I've never since I was quite young. I mean, I rarely had fast food then. But in recent decades, I prepare meals. That's a big part of my time is spent preparing food. So I love buying whole ingredients and preparing it. And then when I was driving a lot, however, it wasn't the food that was the problem. It was a sedentary lifestyle.
Yeah.
It was sitting as, 8, 10, 12. One day I drove 15 hours. And I was doing this typically 6 days a week and barely getting by. I mean, I was, the pace sucked. And I started having just pain, and like my shoulder would hurt from always being on the wheel like that, right? From being in one position. My right leg, the hamstring, because it's on the gas pedal, it doesn't really move or bend at all. It just hurt. It would hurt. And it got to a point where I felt like I was like 90 years old, trying to get into the vehicle, like real slow and stuff, my back hurting and my neck at times. It was just awful. It was awful, and I saw my health just declining in that respect. And that's when I was doing moving jobs too. And so I'd go and, I'd be sedentary for a few hours, then I'd go and lift, something, to me and another guy lifting something that's, 300 pounds. And, you suddenly go into that, and that's where I was breaking myself down, getting the injuries. And even then I would go on trail runs and collect native foods. Not as much as I do now because I didn't have that much time. But today, my body demands movement. Mm-hmm. Lots of movement, and be like the way I'm sitting right now, it's so different from sitting in a vehicle or at a desk where it's the same exact position every single day. So you're out in nature, you sit on one rock one day, you sit on a different rock, it has a different shape, everything's different, and so you're always, it keeps you flexible. But I work out. I'll lift weights. I do a lot of calisthenics workouts, a lot of body weight exercises. I run, I swim a little bit. I try to do a lot, stretching, hanging, climbing trees. Climbing trees is a fantastic exercise.
Absolutely.
I work so many muscles, and every tree is different, So it's not like being on a playground at a school, where everything's the same distance, the trees at different angles and everything, different textures of the bark, it's just great exercise. I love it.
That's my go-to, is anything that's hanging or climbing trees is my favorite. And it's one thing people don't realize, if you're not out there a lot, is I'll be at one spot and there will be 4 or 5 different good climbing, hanging, pull-up trees.
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
all have different thicknesses and different grips. So like each time that you get onto one, it's a completely, and also angles. So a lot of times you'll be pulling, but it's like
right.
Your arm is doing all the pulling. So it's not like in a gym where each rep is a repetition. It's everything is different each time.
I don't know. Right now the sound went off.
All right, we're gonna try this more time while Chad starts his fire. What an episode, man. This has just been, it's almost like a thriller. Just, can Chad get connected and survive at the same time? This is awesome. All right, so part of having guests that like to live in the woods, occasionally you lose signal, and we had some technical difficulties. The rest of this episode is mainly just Chad rapid firing and answering all of your guys' questions. So enjoy.
All right. My age is 48. My own clothes. Some. I am intending to make some pants here soon, and a shirt. And right now, I'm at an undisclosed location in Southern California. Is there hope for us in our 50s? Yeah. Well, if you're talking about, what do you mean, your health? There is. You've got to eat well. And I always say, make your own meals as often as possible, because you need the raw ingredients, unprocessed, no artificial ingredients, nature. The way to health is nature. If you just think nature, is this from nature? Is this close to nature? The closer you can get to nature, the healthier you're going to be. What's your favorite wood to cook with? You know, I've never really thought about that. I just use whatever's available. Often I cook in like the desert. Wait, I'm trying to think. There is a wood that I do like. I don't remember which one it is. Favorite on the move food. Okay, good. That's a good question. Favorite on the move food. Dry meat and seeds. Dry meat and seeds. Protein is very important. And I am not vegan. I'm not vegetarian. I consume a lot of protein, and I think that's very important. It's meant a lot for me. Do you miss anything? I don't. I miss being out here. And actually, I do go to the city because I have family, and I do my video editing in the city. But I get depressed in the city. I really do. Do I hunt big game? I have not hunted big game. Not yet. I've done a lot of fishing since I was a child. The biggest game I ever hunted was a rattlesnake and an octopus with a spear. ¿Qué lugar es ese, bro? Este lugar es un lugar en las montañas entre la costa y el desierto de sur de California. Whew. Oh, this is so cool. This is such an awesome place. And fire just makes it so just legit, you know? Am I cold? Yeah, actually, I am kind of cold right now. Originally, I was all set up down there and had these on poles in the ground, and so I could have my hands free. But so I am a little cold. I'm actually shivering. I'm going to set my torches down now that they seem to be going good. Once they get hot enough, then there's just a slight breeze, and so they need to be burning good, and so that the breeze doesn't blow it out. And I also have here a little candle. This candle is made out of beeswax. No, I'm not filming a video at this exact moment. However, before we did this, I was filming a video. The video is about these berries, manzanita berries I got. And so I have seen these for a couple of years, but this particular location has an abundance. And so I was able to very quickly harvest a lot, and I've been using it for my cooking. I grind it down into a powder. It's really good. My favorite way, though, is to make it a drink. You smash the manzanita berries, and then you cook them in water at a low temperature. I don't boil it. I just get it so it's nice, really hot and steamy, and let it cook like that for like half an hour. And then you drain it out, and it tastes so good. I want to do a fermented drink with it in the future. So I'm going to be doing some more stuff with that. And of course, my lovely acorns as well. I'm going to be doing a lot of different recipes with these as well. Right now, my favorite is pancakes with acorn flour mixed with desert palm fruit. It's fantastic. It really is good. So, and I'm always finding new stuff. So I'm going to get some more different food sources, and I want to do some hunting. I really, really do. And I'm going to make some clothes here soon. Whoa. Do I ever take sick days? Well, I really never get sick. I mean, there are times when I get tired, and I have a problem that I don't want to relax. I'm always doing something. Like I have all this yucca cordage or yucca fibers, and I'm like cleaning these and preparing them so I can make more cordage, which I'm using for so many other projects. I have 600 feet of cordage that I've made out of these yucca fibers. 600 feet that's going to be used in another project for a hammock, actually. I want to make a hammock.
Nice.
So that's going to be really cool.
Hammock would be sick.
So, but sick days, no, I don't really. I'm always doing stuff. You know why? Because it's like I'm gonna die one day. I got to take advantage of every day. You know, in a reasonable manner. You know, I do sleep. I find that getting 7 to 8 hours sleep is really, really important. Let me see. I'm gonna go back, see what the question was. Do I live in the hut or actually have a house? Yeah, I actually have an apartment for my family. So I love going to the hut. The hut is like where I actually feel more home. It's because I guess because I built it, I made it. It's incredible. I'm going to be doing I'm going to start a new series here pretty soon on another piece of land. And I'm going to start my little community of one person. But by the way, there's a project I was working on at the hut that I got running water at the hut now. So that video is going to be coming out tomorrow, I think. Hopefully tomorrow. Latest will be Friday morning. I'm still editing it. By the way, it takes me like 12 hours to edit one video that's like 15 minutes long. So it's an awful lot of work. And so please understand that making videos makes survival and all this stuff like 3 times more difficult, you know. My basket, I'm glad you like my baskets. This basket, for example, this took 15 hours for me to make. 15 hours. I mean, thumbs and fingers are tired. I mean, I really appreciate the work that some of these native women do in these small villages in other countries that, you know, they work with this stuff days, hours, every day. Their fingers are so strong because weaving is a really good finger and thumb workout. Also working with clay, you know, kneading the clay, great workout. Yeah, you're going to love the sink, April. Okay, let me go back here. The primitive heating system works just fine. It works good. A lot of people criticized it because it's not the most efficient, and the reason is because my living space in the hut is so small. But in this climate where it's at is it doesn't get that cold, you know. So it works just fine for my purposes. The artwork on the wall. Several people have asked about it, and 2 people actually almost figured it out. Almost 100%. It's those are Mayan glyphs, Mayan hieroglyphics. I have a lot of interest in Mayan culture, ancient Mayan culture. So, but I'm not going to tell you what it means. You got to figure it out. What do I do before primitive? I did many things. I worked as my very first job was helping my dad in the swimming pool plastering business. I worked at Rally's Hamburgers in high school. Then I worked at a manufacturing company for a number of years. I started doing a little bit of photography. I did sales. I did telemarketing. I did pizza delivery. I was a supervisor in a company, a manufacturing company. I did a little bit of acting. I pursued acting for several years. I had small parts in a lot of different movies or background extra work. A lot of that is how I owe to to my videos. I mean, it gave me a lot of inspiration, seeing how, the cinema photography and how the directors worked and stuff, And so I absolutely love photography. I have for many years, and I did photography, but doing it as a business just wasn't that fun. It wasn't exciting. This scene we have right now, this is the kind of stuff I like to photograph. I like to see video of. Absolutely. Yeah. This is incredible. This is so gorgeous. The effect, the lighting effect of a fire is just so beautiful. Amazing. It's just, oh my God, and it's warm. It's helping. I got to say something. This is something I learned about the deer skin, the buck skin and stuff. It doesn't burn very, very easy, It's not like your cotton clothes, I mean, I could put this in the flame and nothing. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's great, So it's very safe. What do you do before primitive? So yeah, that was before primitive. I did a whole bunch of stuff. I need a pillow right now. I did make a couple pillows. That this is beautiful. It's gonna be kind of a pain in the ass walking down this mountain though in the dark. It's a little muddy and a little steep in parts. Yeah. Oh, here we go. We do have more. How is Rufo? Rufo's great. He's quite a character. He's got a personality.
Rufo.
I don't like part human, I think, but it's funny. He is definitely not really physically adapted to the outdoor life. But I take him out there once in a while, and he has a great time. He's fine. But his long fur gets a lot of stuff stuck in it. But you know what?
Like a big doodle.
I think I'm going to cut that fur and I'm going to make something out of it. Any workout tips for getting bigger and stronger? It's really simple. The concept is simple, but the effort is immense. Okay, so effort is where it's all at. Your discipline and your effort. So to gain muscle, to get bigger and stronger, you have to, one, work out hard. Heavy weight helps. And, heavy lifting exercises such as deadlifts and squats, the heavy ones, they really promote muscle growth. And you need to eat a lot. You really do. Now, everyone's has different genetics. For me, it was always difficult to gain weight. I was always very skinny. Mm-hmm. So I had to be more strict. I had to, of course, I'm not big, but I'm in decent shape, especially considering my age. But yeah, a lot of protein. If you just follow, what some other professionals do, any of the professional bodybuilders, they consume high amounts of protein. They really do. Nikon. Yeah, I've always used Nikon. I can't say that. I'm not saying like, oh, Canon is not up to par to Nikon or nothing. That's just what I've always used. And to change system, it just doesn't make sense, So Canon might be better. I don't know. Live in Amazonia. I went to Amazonia one time. Are you Brazilian? Is that Felipe? Are you Brazilian? Você é brasileiro? Eu fui à Amazônia uma vez, a Manaus, no Rio Urubu. I went to the Urubu River it's a tributary of the Amazon. Back in 2015, it was a phenomenal experience. I landed in Manaus, and then we drove. Someone drove us, me and these other guys that were also doing the same tour, 2.5 hours to the river Rio Urubu, and then from there we took a boat like an hour north on the river to this little. It's a resort, but it's rather primitive. It's totally disconnected off the grid, no cell phone, generators, solar panels that produce electricity. And I was there for 5 days, I think, 5 or 6 days. It was so cool though, because we did we had a guide. His name is Jungle James. Jungle James that took us on this camping, hiking adventure for 2 nights in the jungle. And we took a little a canoe upriver, and then we got out and we just hiked, and we slept in hammocks under the trees.
Nice.
It was phenomenal. It was really cool. The primitive with the latest technology. Seriously though, I get so pissed off at technology. We do not get along. I have zero patience for technology. You know, when you pay a bunch of money and all these high tech companies and stuff, so I expect the technology to work if I'm going to use it. You know, I expect it to be flawless. So when there's problems, I have zero patience. You know, whereas and it's like, oh, I just want to be like primitive. I don't want any of this. You know, there's been times I just want to be totally disconnected off of social media, and I'm only here for you guys because really, it's I don't know, man. It's a big distraction, you know, but it's cool to be able to connect with people. I mean, that's how I met Ryan, you know, and you know, it's just there's several people that I've connected with and or learned from, you know, so it has its pluses, but it annoys me at times. Let's see. Any snakes out there? Well, not right now. This time of year, they're hibernating. I don't see snakes too often. I mean, I do. This is the kind of area where I see them most often. I'm most likely to see snakes because there's just a lot of rattlesnakes out here, especially. Mm-hmm. But I not at this time of year. Not going to see them. Me on Bear Grylls. What kind of shows does Bear Grylls do even right now? I don't watch TV or nothing. I'm not sure what's even out there. You know, even just this one little candle, you can feel the heat, you know, just kind of, it's enough heat to just take the chill off. What, hieroglyphics? Oh, there's hieroglyphics. You're going to find it, huh? You shoot Nikon. Good. Good. Let's see. Oh, did I play any sports when I was younger? Yes. When I was very young, I did soccer. I love soccer. I wanted to be pro, but I was growing slower than the other kids, and so it got to a point where I just felt so little and small, and I didn't play anymore. And then in high school, I was kind of an introvert and stuff, and I just did running. I did cross country running. But again, I was small when I started high school. Even when I was a junior, I got picked on by freshmen. It's pretty embarrassing. You know, I had some bully issues when I was younger. Natural insect repellent advice. Yeah, fire. Fire is great insect repellent. But yeah, a campfire. Every time that I've had a campfire, like in the jungle or wherever, never had an issue with mosquitoes. But there are some ointments you can make, probably buy. I ended up making my own, and I tested it out in a jungle in Mexico, in Chiapas, Mexico. And when we used it, it kept the mosquitoes away. And also the no-see-um bugs or biting midges. I have a video I did several years ago where I show how I made it. And it's made out of, the base is coconut oil, and I put a bunch of essential herbs such as citronella, I think eucalyptus, rosemary, but citronella is the main one. So yeah, you make it pretty strong with that, and you just rub it on your skin. And so it worked. It definitely worked. Snake Island Adventures. I wanted to go back there, but they have pretty strict travel restrictions right now. But when I look back at that series, I was like, I knew nothing. The reason I did that was because on that series, that was the third time there. The first time I went there was a phenomenal experience where I went to take pictures and stuff, like I was talking about earlier at the beginning of this chat. And I slept out on the ground. I had no shelter for a week. I was covered in mosquito bites. I barely ate anything. I lived on coconuts and leaves and a little bit of a mollusk, chitins they're called. I ate some of those raw, and but not much. It was like in a whole week, it was like the size of like one large plate of food, like one big meal spread out over an entire week. And I had really phenomenal experiences though out there. It was really amazing. It was so beautiful, the things I saw hiking around the island. And there were times where I thought I might die. I really did. There were like things that were really, I think, miraculous that happened. There's dehydration, but that was part of my learning experience where I got to learn about myself, was through that suffering. And it gave me such an appreciation of nature and the whole survival concept, because, if you've never done it, if you've never practiced survival and stuff, because most people are very naive. And I certainly was. I remember just before year 2000, 1999, everyone was talking about Y2K. All the computers were going to stop working. Everything was going to shut down and stop working, and we were going to go into just this chaos, right? That's what a lot of people thought. And I was like, yeah, maybe, but I kind of thought like, oh, I'll just go out and catch squirrels to eat or something like that. It's pretty easy to say what you're going to do, but I had zero training or preparation or experience in any of that, but I just thought I'll just go do this or do that if, if the whole system fails. But no, it's not like that. You really have to do it. And there's a big difference between knowing how or being like educated in how to do something and having the experience of doing something. It's a huge difference. I can tell you that from my own experience. Like making pottery from the clay is like years of problems. And, and even recently I was having problems. And I was reaching out to people on Instagram and YouTube. And I was sharing my failures. And then people that had advice were responding. And I learned a lot from that, but I just realized it's a lifetime of knowledge, of learning, so I don't believe much in the current educational system. It's very ineffective. Books, read, just put this knowledge in your head, you'll forget it. If you don't use it, if you don't have the experience, it's just useless. It's a waste. Yeah. It's sad, but that's our modern world. Come visit upstate New York. Yeah, someone else invited me up there. Yeah, I know. There's so many places I want to go. I just, who knows? Maybe I will. I don't like travel in airplanes or any other modern means, especially these days. But we'll see. Maybe I will go. Does my family ever come out to the hut? Very few people have seen the hut. No, they haven't yet. Only one time to see it, but not to like do anything there.
It's been great, man. I wish you could hear me.
All right, it has been great. Grab a screenshot. Grab a screenshot of this and send it to me.
All right, I will do it. Hold on, let me get on here and get a screenshot. You ready?
Peace out, brother.
All right, man. Thanks so much for coming on. You, my friend, are wild. Love you guys. Thank you guys for bearing with us.
All right.